I will.
No, but they try.
I put them by, Meeting is called to order. Certification of compliance with the open meetings law. Quick check the door. Just don't leave it open. Yep. Warmer outside. Open. Roll call.
Paul?
Here.
Brackett? Here. Natron?
Here. Approve minutes from the November 8th, 2021 town board meeting.
Move to approve.
Second. Moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the November 8th town board meeting. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Bills.
We had $35 that we owed to Jefferson County Treasurer for managed forest. We had $60.88 for Wheat Energies by the airport, $54.14 to Wheat Energies for street lighting. CenturyLink was $111.80. Badgerland Disposal, it was $9,685.44 for garbage, and then $4,428.60 for recycling. But during the process of figuring out special assessments for this next tax year, I found that they had an extra property we were being charged for that didn't exist, so we actually got some credits. For garbage, we got $3,233.79, and for recycling, we got $1,478.64. I used the Village of Palmyra stamp machine for our property tax bills, so that was $401.02. Laura Lowry, the clerk's salary was, and a combination of a few office supplies I had to get for the tax letters, was $2,163.10. Larry Caw's salary was $369.40. Nate Tripp was $230.87. We made a contribution to the band, Palmyra Community Band, for $100. Winona's salary was $230.87. Jonathan Hooper, I think he probably mowed the cemetery early this summer, but he just put in a receipt or a bill for one mowing for $125. We owed Jefferson County Treasurer for the printing and the folding of our tax letters, so that was $28.50. We had some law fees. We had paid $614.25. Northwest Services for quite a bit of cleanup came to $28,861.38. We had an assessor fee of $2,725. I posted an ad in the paper about the referendum for the ATVs and UTVs, and so we owed them the paper $27.76. And then we made a donation to the American Legion for $200.
Bills as presented, roll call vote.
Paul?
Aye.
Brackett? Aye. Latrobe,
Aye.
Okay, anyone signed for public comment, has a public comment? We're saving the fire EMS public comments till the end of the meeting so people can get some information before they potentially speak at public comment. Reports, treasurer, file. Pardon?
we have some names.
They're for later.
They're for later? Later? Okay.
All of these are for later.
Anyone want to talk now about EMS related public comments are going to be after the meeting when we have discussion, we have more information. Reports. Treasurers.
General fund, we had $119,495.19. The tax account, we had $110,792.98. The LGIP general, we had $108,687.19. The LGIP fire and EMS, we had $2.69. The airport, they had $69,123.76. And the LGIP airport was 55 cents.
Treasurer report will be filed.
Yep.
Emergency management plan.
Nothing right now, and maybe we'll have something at the county level in January that will be meeting on report back to you. I'll find out.
Fire department.
James is here. He's going to report.
We have a report. Okay.
Right now, we've been working on a bunch of our
You need to speak out.
I don't know if I can talk that much.
You can turn that, should I turn off the heater?
Turn up
I
the
don't have a
heater.
formal report for you. I'll have an annual report next month for you, how volumes and things like that.
Okay.
Right now, we're working on a capital project for state.
Airport, nothing to report. Next airport meeting will be in January, and then we'll have a report. Blue Spring Lake District,
We have nothing unless Dick does.
Nothing new.
building inspector,
We had 4 building inspections, 7 electric inspections. Some of those were for solar, which I thought was interesting, and then a couple were for additions, and so a total of $617.60.
highway. Ron?
For everybody that might know it, I'm Ron from Northwest Service, and thank you for letting me work in your town. I take care of 7 townships. We do road maintenance. We've been doing your snow plowing for many years, and then like potholing and so on. We're now going to take over doing the trees and stuff. If you notice, we've been down Young, Tower, Prairie, Tamarack, picking up all the stuff that was dangerous to anybody. If they got a little bit off the road, they'd have ran into trees. You're going to see my trucks around a lot until it snows, because this is the best time. It's the least expensive time for you to have us work on the stuff, because all the leaves are off, we can see stuff underneath, and if we're brushing with the tractor, it's easier to get in there. So just kind of watch for us a little bit, and if you have concerns, get a hold of somebody in the town, or if you see one of my trucks out. I should have brought a lot of cards, because there are a lot of people here compared to normal. And that way you could call and let us know if you have concerns of a tree that looks like it could fall that's in the easement area, so that they don't have to come out at the middle of the night when it's much more expensive to remove the tree. Okay? And then some of the people here have actually had me do work at their house. If we're coming along in front of your house and you see our trucks and you have a concern, stop and talk to somebody. And then any of my employees will send the information to me, and we'll do the very best we can to do a good job in front of your house to make it the way you would like to have it look.
Yes.
Yeah.
I vouch for you.
Yeah. I know a lot of people, I know my dad planted trees in the easement, and when they came along and wanted to cut them, he almost had a heart attack. We try to do it more like an arborist and make it look real clean and nice as best we can to protect not only other people's interests, but your own too. And I know that people are concerned about the way their houses look when they see us come down there cutting up trees. We're not like the guys that cut for power. We don't just chop a hole in the middle of the tree and leave it. It's that type of stuff. We do wait around and wait to cut the oak trees when it's good to cut the oak trees because they're beautiful trees, even if they are really big and they kill a lot of people through the year for hitting them. We try our best to take care of them and not have them die on them because they just still stay like a beautiful woods. Okay? I just wanted to, because there's so many people here, I figured I wanted to say that and not just grab my check and run. Just so everybody knows that.
He's
So if you
got
have
to go
any-
somewhere else and get more money.
Yeah, I got another town to go to. I actually run with 8 towns. I do the road work for 8 towns, but I do the plowing for 5.
And you need drivers, I saw the
Pardon?
And you need drivers.
Yes, well, actually I have enough to do it, but with COVID and stuff, all it would take is one guy to get it and have 3 or 4 guys go down. We look like Milwaukee, 25 guys short. So, thank you for letting me speak. See you guys later.
Yep, bye-bye.
Thank you, Ron.
Yep, bye.
Ron and Northwest have been doing a good job for us, and they are taking over the majority of the tree work and brushing and so forth, as well as grass cutting during the summer. We have the right-of-ways cut twice during the summer season, and the snow plowing, of course. They also are continuing with the brining project, so that when we anticipate a snowfall, we will be brining the roads, which makes it much easier to get them clean, and sometimes it eliminates plowing totally. Update on the Little Prairie Road and the LRIP reimbursement. Lynch and Associates is completing the application form for that reimbursement for the work on Little Prairie Road, and they figured to have that finished by the end of this week, and we'll get a copy of it. They'll be submitting it on our behalf. That's all I have.
Correspondence? No. Whole business. Open, discuss and possible action concerning bids for the renovation of the town hall. We have 2 bids. There we go. We're trying to make the town hall more user-friendly, taking the kitchen out, taking some of these walls out, just have a small office, and we'll have a bigger area, so most of the town meetings will have room at the town hall, and we have ARPA funds to pay for that if we eventually do that. We have a couple of bids. We will be paid for by ARPA funds. We have to accept them tonight, or can we just look at them, accept them? We don't have the money. The money is, like, approve them, take them, decide which one next one. Pardon?
Yeah, we
Money's
got-
there?
Yeah,
We got the first half, Larry.
yeah. So there's like 63,000.
Oh, there's enough there. Okay.
Discuss and make a decision, if you choose to.
I think what Larry's asking is, do we need to?
Do we have
No,
those?
you don't have to, no, it's possible action, probably to take
So that's
specific action.
Is that part of some money that we have to expect?
You get that.
Okay.
Look at that, we're gonna pass on.
Should we deal with it next? What's it, we have to add that? Yes, yeah, let's do that. let's, just table this for now. I think.
See what this says.
Show it to Dick. I move that we table these for right now, decide at the next meeting. So move.
Second. Discussion.
Okay. There's not a total on there, Dick, so we have a move and second to look at it at the next meeting, and we'll total that up and compare them a little more.
Okay, sounds good.
And I think you have exactly apples to apples there.
No, I don't think we did either. We have to fix it a little bit.
Right. It's been moved and seconded to discuss this further, maybe get the winning bid at the next town board meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No. Motion carried. New business, discussion and action concerning use of Marion Road on December 18th for the Palmyra ATV UTV December ride.
Mr. Clausen,
You want to speak?
Speak up a little bit, can't quite hear you back there.
They're having a hard time hearing.
You can't hear? Okay. This is discussion and action concerning use of Marion Road on December 18th for the Palmyra ATV UTV December ride. Is Mr. Pearden here? You want to just like tell people what you're doing?
Sure. I'm not shy. So we have a new club in town. It's called Palmyra Mudslingers, but at the moment we're actually doing a ride privately for the Palmyra area to try to bring business in. These are UTVs and ATVs that are coming from all over the place. The last ride that we had, we did 18 different towns that came to Palmyra. This time we wanted to take and change our route a little bit. And one of the problems that we have is Cold Spring is landlocked between Palmyra Township and Koshkanon Township. I was able to take and get Koshkanon to open one of the roads so we can make the route on the north side. We're asking for permission to use Meering Road, Thayer Road, and Coke Road for a portion of the day in order to get over to Hebron to Pete's Tavern is our first stop after we're here in Palmyra. It's a one-day event. It's a one-day permit or permission that we're asking for. So it's not like we're telling everybody they can just keep riding the roads over there, not until they have the referendum and we sort things out with the township. So that's what I'm asking for. If there's any questions or if you want to come, we start at 9 o'clock at the BP on Saturday.
Dave, I got a question.
Go ahead.
Do you go in a group?
Yes.
Okay. So everybody kind of stays together?
Yeah, we're trying to keep everybody together so we don't have people wandering off
Right.
because they don't know these roads from an area that they're coming into.
Since this is a one-day event, I don't see any reason to take another permit.
What time are you starting and what time do you anticipate ending?
So we're starting the ride at about 9 o'clock in the morning is when people are signing up. They're going to get in town probably around 8 o'clock in the morning for parking and that. There's a lot of them are coming from outside of town. They're not in the village or the township that are going on here. And we should be done, I'm guessing, around 6 o'clock that evening.
You'll be back here, is that where you end up?
Well, we're going to end up back here about 4:30.
Right,
But one of the things that I'm hoping is that if we're able to have the road open all day, then the people that are in Cold Spring and Hebron Township that's on the south side of 106 can actually drive into town versus having to trailer everything here to town to turn around and go back.
Just trying to, if they're on the south side, aren't they going to have to go kind of north to get?
They do. Well, the only way that you can get across 106
Right,
is
is
on
on
Marion
the-
Road or
yeah.
on N.
Gotcha.
And I don't think too many people want to go way up to N to come back around onto Palmyra. You know, courageous people.
Well, I would make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to allow the use of Marion Road December 18th for ATV, UTV, December ride. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carried. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, have fun.
Have a great night.
See you later.
Discussion and possible action to approve poll workers for 2022. Poll workers to approve are Margaret Burlingham, Sandra Murphy, Kay Demler, Leslie Ott, Kristen Fleming, and Dawn Ingenthro.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved in second to approve the aforementioned poll workers for 2022. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? No. Motion's carried. Discussion possible action concerning fire EMS services for the town of Palmyra. Dick is on the EMT fire committee.
I can lead off.
Okay,
Yeah.
these people are both on the committee with other people. You want to lead off?
I'll try to be really loud so you guys can hear me in the back. If you don't hear, wait.
If you can't hear, we'll shut the heater off.
Anyway, I'm glad to see so many people came tonight.
Anyhow.
And to begin with, I want to make it really clear that nothing we say tonight is meant to denigrate any employee of the village fire and EMS department. It's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about a contract. And this is, our discussion tonight is to enable you people and anybody else to better understand the whole issue of a town contract for fire and EMS services with the village or with any other entity. So, first and foremost, the taxpayers of the town of Palmyra are not going to be without fire and EMS service. Not this year, not next year, and not any year in the future. The town is required by statute to provide fire and EMS protection for the taxpayers of the town, the residents of the town. So nobody's going to be without an ambulance, nobody's going to be without a fire truck showing up. And I'm going to ask the town attorney to give us a really brief explanation about why we can't just go out and tax for additional costs to the town. This is Al Larson, he's our town attorney.
Well, this will be brief. I mean,
Very brief.
Yeah, you caught
I
me
just
off
want
guard
it from a
little bit.
voice of authority.
Well, no, the town has its own levy limits. This is not a matter of we can simply pay whatever we want to pay or fill in, whatever amount is on that bottom line. So the town has its own limits on how much it can increase the tax levy on the members of the town. So that's the plain and simple portion of it. We're not able to just go carte blanche, whatever we decide, or if we get, say, a take it or leave it offer, which kind of feels like so far I think we've gotten from the village. The town has an obligation to do better than that, to negotiate and do its due diligence and explore all the other options that are out there before we jump at what's been thus far put on the table by the village.
So knowing that our contract was going to end at the end of this year, actually it doesn't automatically end at the end of this year. There is a 365-day automatic extension to that contract. So if we don't agree to get services from the village, they can certainly come to us on the 1st of January or the 2nd, whenever, and say, we're going to end the service to you in 365 days. The contract for the next 365 days, or all of 2022, would be the same price as we paid this current year in 2021. So, just so that's clear, we're not going to be without service. So, realizing that we needed to be doing something, back in May, the town board appointed a fire and EMS committee. And that committee, it was appointed at the regular town board meeting. The committee members are on our website, and Dick can talk to you a little bit about our efforts to approach the village back early last summer.
Thank you, Winona. Just by way of information, the committee is made up of Winona Bradset, who is a town supervisor and chairs the committee. Another member of the committee is Pete Summerhauser. He has a home on Blue Spring Lake. It's a vacation home. Jim Gallagher also has a home on Blue Spring Lake, a vacation home. Monty Wilson, who is with us tonight, is a member of the committee, and I, as a supervisor, am the last member of the committee. committee. Just by way of clarification, Pete Sommerhauser is an attorney and was deeply involved with the consolidation of several fire districts on the north shore of Milwaukee County and into Ozaki County, I believe. So he has a lot of experience in dealing with this and is sensitive to the needs for fire and EMS services and what the providers go through to make that service possible for us. So we were appointed at that May meeting, as Winona said. Very soon thereafter, we reached out to the village president to see if we could begin discussions and sit down together and work things out. We were told by the village president that she did not want to meet because she was concerned about meeting with an attorney. Even though we pointed out to her he was not acting as legal counsel for us, but rather as a member of a committee with great qualifications. In July, a committee representative met with the village public safety director and the village president and received information concerning what past services have been and what the costs have been. But at that time, the village indicated they did not want to enter into further discussions until they got into their budget process and saw what they were dealing with financially. On September 30th, the town committee became aware of a contract proposal from the village, which was, well, that was the unilateral contract that we've been talking about here. The town committee then met with village representatives and gathered information, at which time we were told 30%, perhaps a third of the incident calls for the previous year, the current year, were represented by 2/3 in the village and about 1/3 in the township. So, in response to the contract that was presented to us by the village, which totaled $181,000 plus for operating expenses, plus a contribution to the capital fund of $37,000 and change, the town responded and gave to the village a proposal that represented 30% of the operating budget. That was summarily rejected, or I might say ignored, at which point the town came back with another proposal. There was a meeting in between there where the village told the town representatives that this was a non-negotiable contract. It was a take it or leave it. You don't take it, we give you notice to suspend services. Not exactly in the spirit of friendly negotiations. Town committee representative attended a village meeting, and well, that was to take it or leave it. The Fire and EMS committee has not been sitting idle. We've had, in checking my calendar, at least 8 meetings of this committee, along with numerous emails and telephone conversations. So we agreed and presented to the village another offer to pay in the neighborhood of $150,000 as part of the operating budget for fire and EMS services. That represented 33.46% of their operating budget. The capital request is based upon the depreciation of current equipment. And I really find that strange. You don't hire a guy to cut down your tree and then buy his chainsaw. And I doubt very much that the village is contributing to the cost of John's garbage and recycling trucks that they provide service under a contract with the village. You contract for a service. It's up to the provider of that service to provide their equipment. We just don't see that that's a reasonable request at all on the part of the village. the fire and EMS and the committee and the town board were invited to attend a special village board meeting on December 1st. And the purpose of that was to, according to their notice, for the town board and the fire and EMS committee to gather information. At that meeting, Chief Small made a very nice, flowery PowerPoint presentation indicating and reviewing what has been accomplished by the Public Safety Department of the Village of Palmyra over the last several years. There can be no question, in the last 4 years in particular, but 5 years, that's how long you've been here, Chief, right?
Almost 7.
Almost 7. Well, he inherited a situation that was less than desirable, went to work and made some dramatic changes in how the public safety department was operating in the village of Palmyra. We have seen since then some excellent service. We're not here to deny that whatsoever. Fire and EMS response times are much, much lower now than they were previously. We've got trained and cross-trained full-time staff for police and fire and EMS services, which has worked out very well. Since that meeting, we have reached out to the village to try to get together and discuss further what we might come to as an agreeable solution to this dilemma. We have not heard back from the village on their willingness to do so. So we are frustrated, to say the least. We have tried every way possible to negotiate in good faith with the village, and we have consistently been met with a response of take it or leave it. The proposal that was proposed for the public by the village asks the town to pay 40.6% of the operating costs. And if you add the capital request for contribution there, comes up to a total of about 49%. It just doesn't make a lot of sense for us in as much as we represent only 1/3 of the incidents. There are other ways of looking at funding, but this seems to be the most logical. There have been suggestions we look at total equalized values, assessed values for the properties within the township. That's not really a fair way of looking at it for us, because so much of of the land in the township is farmland. That's not going to require an EMS call. Yes, we have now 1,220 residents in the township. And the village came down from a little over 1,800 to 1,791 went on.
They're claiming they still have 1,809 or something like that. So.
Okay, so right around 1,800. So we see a balance there. Another difficulty with contributing to the capital fund is under the contract, the village would have no say-so.
The town.
Or the town, I'm sorry, the town would have no say-so. There's not a joint board that would be managing fire and EMS service for the town and village combined. It is all in the hands of the village. So not only do we have no say-so, we contribute to that, we also have no ownership interest, which in the past was not the case. So there's difficulties there all the way down the line. So I'm not sure, I'm gonna turn this back to Winona.
I'd just like to say that the plans that the village has for the public safety department are nice. In a small community like this, they're probably pretty extravagant. And we all wish that we could buy a Cadillac with Chevrolet money, but we can't do it, or at least I've never been able to. So if you compare them to neighboring departments, and I've spent a lot of time looking at these different things, it's worth a Google search if you're interested to go see what the amount of paid staff neighboring departments have per their population that they serve. And most of them are nowhere near what the village is asking for. One of the fire and EMS committee members took a real close look at the village budget numbers for fire and EMS protection and provided the committee with a summary. That summary is in your packet. So I know that packet's not really in order, but there is a summary in there. The other thing that's there that I thought was kind of interesting, there's a map, a colored map. It's a little hard to look at, but if you figure out where the various town lines are, many of the towns in Jefferson County are served by more than one department. So Hebron, which is our neighbor to the west, is served by 3 different departments. They're served by Sullivan, by Fort Atkinson, and a little segment of them by Jefferson. So that's not unusual at all. The town of Ixonia has their own fire department, and they serve 2 other towns in addition to their own. And in many cases, the EMS service is divided, is not attributed to that town necessarily, or to the provider of the fire service, but they have 2 different services, one for EMS and one for fire. So there's all manner of different ways that different towns are handling things. But when it comes down to it, in the long run, we looked at the cost per capita for the population of each town, and you have a sheet in your packet that gives the comparative cost per capita. If we were to go with the cost per capita that's been presented by the village, we would be paying $180 per capita. The village residents would be paying 120 something per capita, I believe. So they're getting majority of the services, which I realize are closer, they don't have to drive as far, but we're paying a much higher per capita rate at that, with that suggested price from the village, that $219,000, or I'm sorry, 200, yeah.
Wait.
Yeah. So anyway, if you, I don't think that we have to walk through the paper that you've got there. I think everybody here can read that paper and see what the Bonnie Wilson put this together, and we can see what her figures are, and they speak for themselves. There was a comparison with the town of Sullivan, and I think Larry has that information, so maybe Larry can address the town of Sullivan comparisons to the proposed.
Okay, there was a comparison in the PowerPoint presentation that was given at the village board meeting the town board attended, and comparing proposed cost to the town of Palmyra taxpayers for fire and EMS services to the budgeted cost to the town of Sullivan for fire and EMS services results in the town of Palmyra paying $180 per capita, while the cost to the town in the town of Sullivan is around $90 per capita. Mr. Small did not mention the capital costs of the town of Sullivan are for equipment they already own. Capital costs the village of Palmyra wishes the town of Palmyra to pay are not for equipment in which the town will have any ownership interest, but basically they want the town taxpayers to purchase equipment and maybe give it to the village. Small wishes to use equalized values when computing the town portion of his budget. The village encompasses approximately 2 square miles and is composed primarily of houses and urban lots and an industrial park. The town contains thousands of acres of farmland which does not require fire and EMS service. This is apples and oranges when you're talking about equalized values. Mr. Small refers to the 2012 contract as splitting costs 50-50 between the town and the village. Prior to 2011, the village and town shared an extremely effective volunteer fire department. When the village pulled out, thereby destroying the volunteer fire department, the assets and expenses were split 50-50. Today, the assets are mostly gone, and the operation is solely at the direct discretion of the village. The 50-50 split is no longer valid.
And anyway, as you can see, the town board, we would be remiss if we did not fulfill our both fiduciary and moral responsibility to the taxpayers of this town. Therefore, we should be exploring other options other than what the village presented to the public, and that is exactly what we are doing. So if you have specific questions, I would encourage you to call any of us board members. Our phone numbers and names are listed on the website. I'm always happy to talk to anybody that calls. If you get my recorder, leave me a message, and I guarantee you I will call you back. I always do. You can also email your questions to the town clerk. We will answer those and post the question and the answer on our website so everybody can see it. So we're doing our best. If you have comments after the meeting, if you notice on the agenda, there's a comment period. You're welcome to comment. And please, questions directly to us. We'll answer them on the website, and that way everybody can see it instead of just those of us who are here. So.
And I do encourage you to look at these two financial analyses that have been put together. There's a lot of good information in there. Understand that it's a little complicated, but that's what we've been up against, and that's the kind of homework that we've been doing as a committee, is to gather together that kind of information so we can establish and hopefully come to an agreement with the village as what is fair and equitable for everybody. Not just the department itself, but also the taxpayers of the village and of the township. As I said, there's a lot of information there. A lot of it has been sourced from a number of different sources and put together. And I encourage you to read that in some detail. And we, as I indicated earlier, are frustrated. We're trying to negotiate in good faith. If the village was a union, we could have them up in front of the National Labor Relations Board for failure to bargain in good faith. That's a violation of federal law. They aren't a union, so they don't have that obligation. But we are more than willing to sit down with village representatives and work through the issues and come up with something that is fair and equitable and provide consistent service for both of the participants.
Okay, public comment? Anybody signed up? Angela Adams, 2 minutes.
I have kind of a stupid question. What about Eagle? I used to live in Eagle, and I went through the tornado, and I saw the importance of having, fire and all of that.
They have combined with North Prairie to form the Kettle Moraine Fire District,
Okay.
and we're in talks with them.
Frank Sauter?
Good evening, folks. Frank Sauer, I've been a resident for 61 years.
Stand up.
Yes, sir. I live out here on 106. I've been a resident for 61 years, and one of the first things that I want to ask is, what's your primary objection to getting this done?
You have public comment. You have
public comment for 2 minutes.
questions. You put your questions to.
One of my biggest concerns is the ISO ratings.
You have 2 minutes to speak.
I'm trying to speak.
Go ahead. Sorry.
The ISO ratings. If our fire station ends up moving more than 5 miles away, it goes to an automatic 10. Which is, right now, the town of Palmyra is a 5 and 6 according to my insurance agent. American Family, but he's a chief of a fire department. They can look that up. We have the possibility, if we continue the way that the chief over here is doing in his department, to drop that. It goes down, my rates go down. If it goes up to over a 5 mile from the fire department situation response, over 5 miles from the fire station, it goes to an automatic 10. He tells me my premiums are going to go up 30 to 40%. I pay roughly $1,000 now on the house out here on 106. That means it's going from $1,300 to $1,400. Okay, you start looking at that in the residents here in the township. That's a lot of money, insurance premiums, etc. I want to keep the same type of response times and that the chief and his fire department is giving right now. I had a call, I mentioned this at the meeting 2 weeks ago. 3:15, 4 o'clock in the morning, had to call 911, somebody had an accident, 4.5 to 6 minutes they were out there. We can't sacrifice response times for a little bit of money. The way you're talking, it's $69,000 difference between the 150 you offered and 219, if I'm correct. That's what it is. We're talking about a lousy 69,000 bucks spread out in the township of Palmyra. Okay, there's nobody here that can't afford a little bit more on that. Aside from that, I got my tax bill and I see my taxes went down 300 bucks.
That will go up 25% over the life of the contract also. There's a 5% escalator.
Your taxes went down because of the school levy problem.
I understand that, but we gotta continue those services. They gotta be paid for. I work with a lot of municipalities. Example, Elkhorn. Had to go to full-time, they had to hire 24 full-time EMS and firefighters, because volunteer isn't getting it done anymore because just the world we live in, I guess. But anyway, and I hear that